Hello there. I wish someone would just hide the Prime Minister's pen, as she seems to be prone to writing nationally embarrassing letters. Instead of taking the bull by the horns and leading this country proudly out of the European Union at 11 p.m. on Friday the 12th of April, or Friday the 29th of March, come to that. No, instead of that, Theresa May has decided that writing another apologetic letter to the President of the EU Commission, Donald Tusk, is the order of the day. And in her letter she says she wants to leave with a deal that uses the unamended and binding withdrawal agreement, but with changes to the political declaration. And those changes are probably going to mean a much closer alignment with the European Union and giving over more control and jurisdiction to the European Court of Justice in the future. So she is of course also asking for another Article 50 extension in her letter. And she's gone back to her preferred date of the 30th of June, just prior to the reconvening of the EU Parliament. But with the hope that we can conclude early and get out before that. And acknowledging that this poses the real risk of the UK still being in the EU when the MEP elections are taking place, starting the 23rd of May, and the obligations to hold them if we are still a member of the EU, she wrote the following. The government is therefore undertaking the lawful and responsible preparations for this contingency, including by making the order that sets the date of the poll. There you have it. The anti-UK remain a wet dream of the UK conducting EU parliamentary elections despite Brexit. This will be music to the ears of Remainers, as they now know that Brexit is about to be fully reversed. Once the UK has elected MEPs, there will be excuse after excuse for months and possibly 1 or 2 years that we can't quite leave yet, until a second EU referendum can be engineered that they hope will overturn the first one. In her letter, she says that she hopes that she can get her deal ratified before the 23rd of May, so allowing the cancellations of EU elections in the UK. This is desperate stuff, and she is now caving in completely, and this fools no one. For a start, she says she wants to extend only to the 30th of June. That means in her plan, the UK would have to go to the massive expense of holding EU elections. All the political parties and individuals who want to stand would have to go to huge expense to go through that democratic exercise. And they would either spend huge amounts of time and money for not holding an election, or they would spend huge amounts of time and money to stand in an election and never see the inside of a parliament if they won. And the whole nation would be expected to pay for and go and vote in those expensive and pointless elections. Then, because we would leave on the 30th of June at the latest under her plan, none of our elected MEPs would ever take up a seat, except that, as I understand it, they would actually have that right for the next 5 years. The EU has also already put in train wide-ranging changes to the EU seat numbers and structure to take account of Brexit. So if we held elections and then immediately left, it would throw those entire plans into total disarray for the whole parliamentary 5-year session, and might even lead to challenges to the legitimacy of the EU Parliament. If anyone thinks that the EU will look on this as a credible plan, they are barking. No, none of this hangs together at all. This looks more like a letter from the UK Prime Minister begging a Eurocrat to order her to accept a very long extension of maybe 2 years, and that the UK stands ready to comply. Then she probably thinks she can dismiss the Yvette Cooper bill as irrelevant and start working with Jeremy Corbyn on his plans for a permanent customs union with the EU and another EU referendum. readying the nation to hand over £39 billion as well as the nation's whole defence and foreign policy structure to the EU in the process. But how on earth is she going to be able to convince anyone that she can get a consensus across the whole of Parliament and get the extremely important but controversial EU Withdrawal Agreement bill through Parliament within the next 3 critical months, if we already have the opposition complaining that the PM will not compromise? Unless she plans on, say, using the procedure recently employed to ram Yvette Cooper's bill through the Commons in one day, and then using the 1911 Parliament Act to force the Lords into line as well. I would not put it past her to use something like that to get her own way and force this useless UK colony status treaty onto us. But she needs the fallback of more guaranteed time to do it, and having new UK MEPs in place gives her that time. Every day seems to chart new lows for our politicians and Parliament, all to ensure that the UK ceases to exist as an independent nation state. So please let us all know what you think by leaving a comment below, and thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.